Hello friends, welcome to Scholarate. So today we will learn a new topic in physics. So before starting the video, I hope you are all fit and fine at your home and doing your studies properly. So today's chapter is electricity. So we are all acquainted with this topic, electricity. Without electricity, today's life is totally impossible. All our electrical appliances, computer, TV, refrigerator. In fact, the domestic power supply, that is lights, fans, air conditioner, etc., all works on electricity. So this is the first part of this lecture. So let's start the topic. At first, let's discuss the content we are going to study today. So basically, we will study a brief history about charge. Then we will study what is basically a charge, then the properties of charge, the methods of charging, and then finally Coulomb's law. So let's study them one by one. The history of charges. In the 18th century, there was a scientist named Benjamin Franklin. He lived in America. He tried some experiments with charges. It was Franklin who named that there are two types of charges, mainly positive and negative. He called them electric charges from thunderstorm clouds through wet string from a kite. It was Franklin who proposed the theory of single fluid model of electric charge. So what is it? An object with an excess of fluid would have one charge. An object with a deficit of fluid would have the opposite charge. So this was a theory proposed by Benjamin Franklin. While other scientists proposed the two fluid theory with separate positive and negative fluids moving around. So this was a brief history about charges. So let's study what is charge. So basically electric charge is a physical property, or you can say the intrinsic property of a matter that causes it to experience a force when kept in an electromagnetic field. So basically what is an electromagnetic field? So it is a imaginary field formed by both electric fields and magnetic fields. Okay, so it is an imaginary field where if you keep a charge or an electric charge, it will experience some force. It may be attraction, it may be repulsion, depending on the nature of the charge. So commonly there are two types of charges, positive charge and negative charge. When the net charge on an object is equal to 0, the object is said to be neutral. So irrespective of positive or negative charge, it will experience some force. But if an object doesn't experience any force, or you can say the net charge of an object is equal to 0, the charge is said to be neutral. That is, it doesn't carry any charge, neither positive nor negative. The movement of charges is responsible for production of a new type of energy known as electrical energy. The study of electricity is broadly divided into three branches: electrostatics, electromagnetism, and electric current. So we will study them one by one. So at first, what is electrostatics? It is a study of the force that acts between two point charges. Okay, so it is basically the study which deals with the how the point charges react with each other. Basically, it's the study of point charges. Electromagnetism is the study of the force acting on the charge that are in motion. And electric current is the form of energy that is associated with the flow of charges. Now let's go on to the next topic. The types of charges. There are mainly three types of charges: positive charge, negative charge, and neutral. The examples are given here. Positive charge, mainly protons; neutral charges, maybe neutrons; and negative charges, electrons. So you are all acquainted with these examples: electron, proton, and neutron. Now, if there are identical positive and negative charges, then their sum will be 0. It's obvious that we know if let us assume an example. If there are 5 positive charges and there are 5 negative charges, positive 5 and negative 5 will cancel out and the result will be 0. Similar thing happens here also. If there are equal number of positive charges and equal number of negative charges, they will nullify each other and the sum will be 0. That means that object is electrically neutral. Now, what is the unit of charge? So basically the unit of charge is named under the scientist Coulomb. So its SI unit is Coulomb. In short, we will say only capital C. And the CGS unit is stat Coulomb. Here we are given a relation 1 Coulomb is equals to 3 into 10 to the power 9 stat Coulomb. So this is the relation between the SI unit and CGS unit of charges. Now, you all acquainted with this, that the charge of electron is minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 Coulomb, and this is the smallest possible charge in the universe. Now, what are the properties of charges? The first property you are all acquainted with is that the like charges repel while unlike charges attract each other. That is, if there are two like charges mean they are same charge, either positive or negative. Okay, they will repel each other, that is, they will push each other away. And the unlike charge, that is, it may be one positive and maybe negative, or negative and positive, they will attract each other. Now, next property is additivity of electric charge. So what does it mean? Let us consider a system of charges having 3 point charges with a magnitude q1, q2 and q3. So there is a system where there are 3 positive charges q1, q2 and q3. We are only considering the magnitude here. Okay. So if we consider the system, then the net charge or the total charge of the system is basically the algebraic summation of the 3 charges. That is, the total charge capital Q is equals to q1 plus q2 plus q3. Okay, you can also apply this for n number of charges. Okay, it doesn't mean that only 3 charges are added algebraically, it may be n number of charges. These charges have magnitude but no direction and are scalar quantities. You know all that there are 2 types of physical quantities, scalar and vector. So basically charges are scalar quantities because they have only magnitude but no direction. They are treated like real numbers for during the operations. For any system having n number of charges or n particles, the total charge will be q1 plus q2 plus q3 up to the last charge q. Now, conservation of electric charge. According to the principle of conservation of electric charge, the charges are neither created nor destroyed but only transferred from one body to another. Just like the conservation of energy, charges can't be created nor be destroyed, but they only get transferred from one body to another. Let us take an example. When two objects, one has some charge while other have no charge, are made to come with each other in a close contact, then the charge is transferred from one body to another body. And by this process, the uncharged body also acquires some charge, and the net charge is equally divided over the whole system or over the two bodies. Here, no charge is created or lost. It doesn't mean that some charge is lost from the charged body. It's not like that. It just gets transferred to the uncharged body. Now, the next property is quantization of electric charge. According to the principle of quantization of electric charge, all the free charges are integral multiples of a basic predefined unit, which is denoted by E. So what is the integral multiple? You can see over here Q equals to NE. Here integral multiple means n is an integer. It may be 0, it may be a negative number, or it may be a positive number. So Q equals to n into E, where E is basically a predefined unit, or more precisely it is the charge of electron or proton, and the value of E is also given 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Now next move on to the next topic. Okay, so the next topic is the methods of charging. There are mainly three methods of charging: friction, induction, and conduction. We will study them one by one. At first, the method of charging by friction. Charging by friction involves rubbing of one particle on another, resulting in electrons moving from one surface to another. This is mainly used for charging the insulators. Okay, so it's basically rubbing one material into the surface of another material, causing the movement of electrons, and that causes some charges. Here it is given an example. If you rub an ebonite rod with a wool, then negative charges from the wool will transfer to the ebonite. The ebonite rod will become negatively charged, while the piece of wool will become positively charged. So by this process of friction, both ebonite rod as well as the wool gets electrically charged. Now, the next method is charging by conduction. This process involves touching of a charged particle to a conductive material. This way of charges are transferred from the charged material to the conductor. So whenever you make close contact with a conductor and a charged body, the charges are transferred from the charged body to the conductor. You already know that conductors are very good in transferring electricity, as well as they are also good in transferring heat. Okay, so when a conductor is in close contact with a charged body, the charges gets transferred by conduction from the body to the conducting material. Okay, the last method of charging, that is charging by induction. Here charging is done when a charged object is actually transferring charge into another body without actually touching them. So it is a very interesting method. Without touching the two bodies, the charges gets transferred from one body to another. The charging by induction is a process where a charged particle is held near an uncharged conductive material that is grounded on a neutrally charged material. So here you can see over here that whenever a charged body or a charged object is kept in contact with an uncharged particle, and there is no such close contact, okay, without actually touching the object, the charge is getting transferred from the charged body to the uncharged conductive material, which is grounded on a neutrally charged material. The charge flows between two objects, and the uncharged body develops a charge of opposite polarity. That is, if the charged body is initially having the positive charges, the uncharged body after the method of conduction will acquire some negative charges. Practically, you have all experienced this method. Whenever you rub a comb with your hair or any woolen clothes, then you will see that the pieces of papers will easily get attracted to the comb without actually keeping in contact. Now let's move to the next topic. So basically this is the last topic of today's video, Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law is basically a law given by scientist Coulomb on point charges. So the law states that the magnitude of electric force of attraction or repulsion between 2 point charges is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So basically, whenever there are 2 point charges, okay, there is always some force of attraction or repulsion between them. If the charges are positive and one charge is negative, then there will be force of attraction, or they are both positive or both negative, then there will be some force of repulsion. So whatever may be the force, there must be some force That force is always directly proportional to the product of magnitude of the charge. That is, more is the magnitude of the charges, the more will be the force of attraction or repulsion, and is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That is, more will be the distance between the point charges, the lesser will be the force, because the distance increases, the force will decrease, as they are inversely proportional. So here a relation is given: F is equals to K into Q1 Q2 by R square. Here Q1 Q2 are the magnitude of the two charges, R is basically the distance, F is the electrostatic force, and K is a constant. You can write the K as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay, so later on the constant's value has been derived, and it is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So you can also write the formula like this: F equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. Here epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space of air, or in vacuum you can say. Okay, so epsilon is basically a Greek symbol which symbolizes the permittivity of free space. And the value of K, that is the Coulomb's constant, is also given here. It's 8.988 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. So I'm ending this video, and this was the first part of electricity, and we will soon upload the second part of this lecture. So thank you so much and stay tuned. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe our channel. We will bring some more concepts regarding physics and some other subjects. Thank you.